Do you leak when you sneeze? Do you have back pain, hip pain, constipation? Do you have pain with sex? Do you feel pressure when you stand? Do you have trouble reaching orgasm? Can you hold back your gas? Do you have pubic pain during pregnancy? Do you feel like your core never came back after birth? Believe it or not, every one of these things can be connected to your pelvic floor.
You are listening to Belly Birth Beyond with Pelvic Floor Mama, hosted by Fecal, a PTA, mom of two, and now your go-to pelvic floor coach. Welcome to the safe space where no topics of motherhood are off limits and judgment is left at the door. Too many mamas are dismissed when they've got valid concerns. If you're sick of hearing that's normal when it feels otherwise, keep listening.
Welcome back, Mama. I am so excited you're here. Today, we're going to dive into all the things that affect your pelvic floor or what your pelvic floor can help you with. I think there'll be some things that surprise you because so often there's a lot that revolves around your pelvic floor that we don't even realize. And sometimes you might be struggling with it. And by making just some simple changes, you no longer will, or you'll just know where to turn to. So that way you don't have to feel like this, or you don't have to experience this. Your pelvic floor, let's just go back to a little basic anatomy here, okay? Your pelvic floor acts as like a hammock to your bladder, bowel, and uterus, okay? So it supports your uterus, which can support your baby during your pregnancy. Your pelvic floor is made of, it's not just like one muscle. It is 3 different layers of muscles with several muscles within each layer. Okay, your pelvic floor is located inside the vaginal canal. So the way to touch your pelvic floor, I guess, evaluate it, there's lots of different ways. We can do it externally with like pediatrics and things like that. We can do it externally with some adults. But the way to evaluate your pelvic floor is an internal exam, which is less invasive than using like a speculum and having like a pap done or something like that. It should be significantly less painful, and all of the things, less invasive. You should be very comfortable during this. So what your pelvic floor is, it's the where it sits is if you are having any type of hip, pelvic, back, tailbone, sacrum, pain, like all of like your pelvic floor is kind of like the central area for all these things. So that can be the missing piece. If you've had chronic back pain and you haven't been able to like feel any relief at all, and you've tried all the things, you've done traditional PT, you've done exercises, you've done like all these different things, maybe injections, whatever it may be, and you just still have pain, you're probably just missing the piece of the pelvic floor. And once you like connect that to everything you're doing, you feel so much better. At least that's how I felt. I mean, gymnastics for 16 plus years and then a C-section, a VBAC, and I thought my back would never be the same. Pelvic floor changed my life, both professionally and personally. So just some things. So those, if you, sciatic pain, SI pain, like all of these different types of things that have pain, your pelvic floor might be the missing piece. Not that like traditional exercises or traditional physical therapy can't help with, but if you really target the pelvic floor and someone who works specifically with that, you will find relief in so much faster. And then it can last longer because it's not constantly coming back because we're fixing what's going on. We're like addressing the body as a whole, including the pelvic floor. So your pelvic floor, like it said, it's a hammock for your bladder, bowel, and uterus. So if you are having constipation, if you're leaking, like if you pee when you stand up or you can't make it to the bathroom or cough, sneezing, laughing, jumping, all of those types of things, pelvic floor, which I think we all know, right? Like I think if we talk about like peeing ourselves, we can correlate that to pelvic floor. If we know what our pelvic floor is, there's so many times where I start talking about it and they're like, what is pelvic floor? Can you talk about this more? Like I've heard people say pelvic floor, but I don't even know what that is. I don't understand. It's just Kegels, right? No, not just Kegels. If you've been around, you know we don't use the terminology Kegels around here at Pelvic Floor Mama. We don't do them, and we don't talk that way. And I actually have created my own method. It's called the BSR method to help moms, whether it's pregnancy or postpartum, be able to feel relief, stronger, more comfortable, and dry and within their body by implementing this method that doesn't include just starting with exercises and hoping for the best. We got to start with the pelvic floor as a whole. So if you're dealing with, like I said, constipation, leaking, peeing when you don't want to, if you're having pain with sex, pain with insertion of any kind, you can't get a tampon, a cup, a disc, anything like that because it's painful. That's pelvic floor. If you are having a hard time like holding back gas, or you're like can't control your bowels, where like if you have to poop, you have to go like right then. Again, pelvic floor. If you are having pain with menstruation, like if you have really painful cycles, this could be a piece of pelvic floor. Menstruation has like so many different pieces to it. A lot of it's hormonal. A lot of it is, there's a lot of like endometriosis and PCOS and things like that can contribute. But pelvic floor can also help manage these symptoms because your pelvic floor is literally like the base, like the middle ground of this. Okay. Ovulation pain sometimes can be, some pelvic floor can help with ovulation pain. Ab separation, diastasis recti. So if you've ever had like at the ab separation, weak core, you have to address your pelvic floor when you're addressing this. Your pelvic floor literally makes up the bottom of your core, so they work together. They have to work together. So when you're addressing the ab separation and the like diastasis recti, abdominis, and things like that, you have to talk about pelvic floor and you have to connect the two. You have to have this connection, mind, muscle, body connection. And especially after you give birth, that connection is almost, I don't want to say severed, but let's just for dramatic effect say it's severed. Because a lot of times we don't reconnect with our body. And then we have weakness in our core, we're pain, we have pelvic pain, pubic pain, back, hip, like you name it. We have pain, especially carrying a baby all the time, nursing, all of the different things. And it feels like your body just can't get any relief. It doesn't go back to what it felt like before. It's because we totally skip over this reconnecting phase of your pelvic floor. And that's huge. We have to reconnect with your pelvic floor. When we have to start doing this before the 6-week time. I talk about this in another episode about why you shouldn't wait 6 weeks. But this is really important to just feel more comfortable, strong. I'm losing my voice now. In your body. So your pelvic floor is like the central of you. It actually, and some people think this is like hooey nonsense, but it holds a lot of your stress, a lot of your tension. It's like the middle ground for your body. And so if you're a really stressful person, if you have like TMJ, tight jaw, shoulders, chronic headaches, those types of things, you probably have a tight pelvic floor too. And a tight pelvic floor doesn't necessarily mean like a strong pelvic floor. It means that it may not have the ability to relax. And when your pelvic floor can't fully relax, it can't fully tighten either, like contract. And so then we can get some leaking. So if you are like, I'm having pain or I'm peeing myself and I'm doing all the Kegels and it's not helping, you probably need to stop doing Kegels. Kegels are probably making your problem worse. You probably need to, take a step back and not do Kegels. This is like a huge what? Why wouldn't we do that? I don't think I have ever, I'm trying to think, within like the pregnancy, postpartum, birth, like range of moms I work with, I don't think there's ever been a time where I've told her she needs to do more Kegels. One, I don't use the terminology Kegels, so I don't think I've ever told her that she needs to work on her pelvic floor contraction. It's always been, we have to work on these other things to support the pelvic floor. So what I mean by that is your pelvic floor, especially during pregnancy, right? But just in general, it's like acting as that hammock. So it's supporting everything. And your pelvic floor needs your core because your pelvic floor makes up the bottom of your core. So it needs your core to function. And it needs your glutes to be strong, not tight. A lot of moms have tight glutes. A lot of moms have, if you watch the YouTube video from yesterday, I do have a YouTube channel. It's Pelvic Floor Mama. It's just the same, spelled the same. We talked about mom butt and ditching mom butt. So you can listen to that. But like and that's a huge piece, is like our glutes aren't as strong as we think they are. Or they're not working efficiently or correctly or right. They're just kind of along for the ride. And so our pelvic floor has to work harder. And so this is a problem too. We need to have a balance between core, pelvic floor, and glutes. Otherwise, we end up with having really tight pelvic floor who's doing all of the work. And this can lead to a lot of the symptoms that you have. And so doing more Kegels is not helping. It's already working hard. And when you add more Kegels to it, it's working even harder. So it does the opposite effect of what you need and what you want. It's interesting, right? So a lot of times I'm not teaching moms how to strengthen their pelvic floor. I'm teaching moms how to relax their pelvic floor, but we can't just dive right in and relax the pelvic floor if we don't fix why it's tight to begin with. So again, exercises are great, but they're not the starting point. We have to take these other steps first, which is why I created the BSR method. We have to take these other steps first before we can just dive into exercises and hope that it gets better. We have to address what's going on, whether it's pain, whether it's tightness, weakness. No matter what it is, we got to start from the most basic piece or part. Okay. Your pelvic floor is responsible for a lot of different things, right? Like this is a lot. There's breathing. Okay. So your diaphragm and your pelvic floor, they kind of work together. And so if you're wearing super tight bras, restrictive bras, even if you're wearing like really tight, I mean, we're not really in the stage of skinny jeans anymore, although I still love my jeans, skinny jeans. I call them prison pants, so I don't really love them, but we have our favorites, right? And so if we're constantly like wiggling our bodies into these tight pants, whether it's skinny jeans or jeans in general, or super tight leggings that are like, don't allow you to breathe, AKA I got the wrong size one time in pants and they felt great standing. And then I was sitting and I felt like my insides were being squished like to death. So had to go up a size, and that's fine. It's okay to go up a size to be a little more comfortable. But when you're stuck wearing like super tight bras and super restrictive pants, your diaphragm can't move the way it's supposed to, right? When your bras are restrictive. And so when your diaphragm can't move the right way, there's more pressure put downward into your pelvic floor. And then if you're stuck wearing tight pants and you're not allowing the pelvic floor to be able to fully like relax and lengthen because your belly's always stuck in, so you're creating like tightness and tension, then again, we have more tightness and tension within your pelvic floor and more problems. And it's like this balance. We have to find this balance. So the point is yes, during pregnancy, postpartum, your breasts are changing. So find bras that fit, that are comfortable, ditch the belly binders, find pants that are comfortable and that fit and that aren't squeezing the heck out of you. Because that is where a lot of the problems arises, when you're being like squeezed the heck out of. So those are just some simple changes you can make. Okay. And then we just got to dive into, that's why like the most basic part of pelvic floor is literally just breathing. So many moms are like, I don't breathe correctly. And I didn't realize it until I've seen your videos or you've talked me through it. And it seems like the silliest thing, but it's one of the easiest things we can teach you that's going to make such a huge difference. And it's what I start with. Anytime someone comes through the clinic, I will never start anything else without knowing that they can breathe correctly. Otherwise, we're just throwing exercises at you and hoping that it helps. And it doesn't. So pelvic floor, we talked about how it affects your bladder, your bowel, your uterus. It affects constipation or inability to hold back gas or bowel movements, leaking. So any urinary incontinence, stress, urge. So you pee when you cough, laugh, sneeze, jump, run. Hip pain, back pain, pelvic pain, sacrum pain, tailbone pain, SI pain, sciatic pain, like all these things. Sometimes you just need to get your pelvic floor involved and it can make a huge difference. Menstrual pain, ovulation pain. See all these things with pain? Pelvic floor holds a lot of that and has a lot of power. So we've got to be able to help you manage pelvic floor, like in the balance. We got to teach you how to use your core. So I just had a mom recently who very strong, like I believe she was even a collegiate athlete and always worked out, always, she thought she had a really strong core. And literally right before she got pregnant, she realized, she learned from a specialist that she wasn't actually engaging her core the right way, or she wasn't using her core correctly. So while it seemed strong, it wasn't. And so we had to go back and reteach her how to use her core and how to strengthen her core. And then we had to teach her how to do that in conjunction with pelvic floor, because pelvic floor and your core go together. So there's a lot of things that we just have to fine tune. We just have to help you with. If you're already someone who loves to work out and exercise, I've worked with moms who are like Pilates and yoga, and they love doing that, but they're still having problems. And it's because we just have to go back to the most basic pieces. It's not necessarily exercises. We have to go back to the most basic pieces that you're having. That's taking place. Or I have moms who are like, lift weights and run and do this. And they're like, I do all the things, but I don't know what else to do. And it's, again, we got to go back to basics. I've also worked with moms who are like, I hate working out. I hate moving my body. I just want to like get through my day. That's why when you learn this BSR method, it makes it so much easier for you, because we start at the same spot. And a lot of times if you are like, I love strength training, I love like lifting, and I have a really hard time doing like yoga and slower type of things. It's just really hard for me. And so I have to remember that at the end of my workout, I have to do some slower relaxation. I have to do some mobility. I have to take care of my body. Otherwise, I'm constantly going to have the tension and the buildup. And this can lead to pelvic floor issues. This can lead to sciatic pain or back pain. So you have to keep this balance. This is why I've worked with a lot of moms too who have EDS. Geez Louise, that took me a second. Who have EDS, so like hypermobility. And they're like, nobody can help me because I have this hypermobility, and now I'm pregnant, so I'm even more hypermobile, and I'm not sure what to do. And we got to go back to the basics, and then we have to fine tune it for you, because if you are hypermobile, we have to have the balance between having the correct mobility, but also having the strength to support the mobility. And everybody needs this balance of strength and stability. Strength and flexibility, strength and stability, both, right? We need this balance. And so it's just being personalized to you. So whether you have EDS and you are already hypermobile, or whether you're just somebody who doesn't have an underlying condition or symptoms, but you just need that support, we have to find that balance for you. And when you find that balance, that's your sweet spot. That's where you can like move without pain, cough and sneeze in peace, laugh, jump, run, and like you're good to go. You're not worrying about crossing your legs or passing gas when you don't want to at the most inappropriate times. Because it happens. It happens. That is a gist of what your pelvic floor is and what it can help with. I think just knowing a little bit more about anatomy and how to support your pelvic floor can make a big difference. If you're looking to support your body through pregnancy, through birth, postpartum, the resources are all linked down below. The 5-Minute Mama Reset, so it's called the 5-Minute Mama Relief Reset, is going to kick off on Monday, July, whatever that July is, on Monday. So the following Monday. So if you are wanting to join with support, I guess, like if you want to do it with people and like at a set time and like be guided through it, we start on Monday. The link is down below. However, the 5-Minute Mama Relief Reset is available all the time. So if you miss the opportunity to join on Monday and do it with us, it's still available for you to hop in there and do it. It's 5 minutes a day to be able to start implementing this BSR method that I teach. It's for pregnant and postpartum moms, or trying to conceive, or you just want to be able to feel stronger, more comfortable in your body. You want to be able to support your pelvic floor a little bit more. I walk you through step by step how to do this. And by day 5, you're putting everything together and you're able to start incorporating it into your day-to-day life, which can help you with pain, weakness, feeling more confident, comfortable, those types of things. So all the links are down below. If you like this podcast, please share it with somebody. Feel free to comment, rate it, all of the things. I love hearing from you. Send me an email and let me know what your favorite thing is, or what's helped you most, or what you want to hear about next. I'll see you next time. Or I won't see you next time. You'll hear me next time.
Nothing is TMI when it comes to motherhood, and common doesn't necessarily mean normal. Always trust your gut and never stop advocating for the care you deserve. If you enjoyed this podcast, help it reach more mamas like you by subscribing and leaving a review on your preferred listening platform. Keep in touch with me on Instagram by following Pelvic Floor Mama. See you next time.